Since the discovery of the GoPro camera, humans have been able to capture things that were difficult to get on camera, and many of them are creepy and scary to say the least. Here now are the 20 scariest things caught on GoPro cameras. Number 20. A bear chase. One day, a man biking through the woods decided to document his ride using a GoPro strapped to his helmet. Everything seemed quiet at first, until he noticed a bear charging up next to him. The bear looks as if it intends to attack the man, as it's charging at high speeds. This scares the biker, and he picks up speed to make the distance between him and the angry bear. However, the bear doesn't give up. Through the shots of the biker looking back, we can see the bear charging full force toward the biker. The biker is panicked as he begins to take shorter and shorter breaths. Soon, the biker runs into a branch that blocks his path, and he abandons his bike and continues on foot. He stops behind a tree to catch his breath, and the bear is nowhere to be found. Luckily, the man made it out of the forest alive, but this scary experience will stay with the biker for a long time. Number 19. Man skis off the edge of a 150-foot cliff. Skiing is a quiet, wintry, relatively uneventful sport enjoyed by people everywhere. It almost never goes awry and never becomes too extreme. However, the stakes can escalate faster when chaos goes down the slopes. Devin Stratton was skiing on the Wasatch Range in Utah when he accidentally skied off the edge of a 150-foot cliff. He fell a super long way and landed on top of his backpack and 2 feet of powder. He claims to have escaped without so much as a bruise, and the best part is that Stratton had his helmet cam filming the entire time. So you can watch his brush with death from start to finish. Stratton said that when he saw how big the cliff was when he was going over the edge, he thought for sure that he was dead, but he prayed in his head in midair, and the raw footage doesn't sound like it because he's cussing, but in his head he was praying. Despite his lack of injuries, Stratton was still fazed by the incident. One of his buddies came around to help him, and together they spent 5 hours digging in the snow to recover one of Stratton's skis. Stratton said that he'd been back to the slopes at least 3 times since the accident, and you can watch his death-defying plunge and see how he walked away safely. Number 18. Strange monkey creature. This video might be one of the most convincing tapes that captures a new type of creature that's undiscovered. A biker who's filming his ride going down a small path near his home, and everything seems normal until he reaches a bridge that narrows in 2 closed walls. As he passes over the bridge, he notices something jumping off of one of the walls and swerves out of the way. On camera, it looks like a near miss, but the camera still picks up the creature. It's large in size and looks like a monkey. However, when slowed down, you can actually see that the creature appears to be hairless and too large to be a monkey. There is a strange noise heard as the biker passes, but it's unclear if it is the man's bike or the creature itself. Whatever this creature was, it didn't stick around because when the man turned around to look for it, it had vanished. It's definitely creepy and scary to spot an undiscovered creature roaming in your neighborhood. Number 17. Car crash from inside. A group of men who had GoPros rigged to the inside of their car would capture something from an angle that's typically never seen. These vloggers were having a cheerful conversation as they were passing through an intersection. However, the mood quickly changed. The car was sideswiped by an incoming car, and the whole crash would be captured from the inside of their vehicle. The reactions of the men on the inside are what's probably the most disturbing about this footage. They realize seconds before the crash that there's a car coming full speed towards them, and then the initial crash happens, and their faces show complete terror. After that, they collected themselves and made sure that everyone was okay, and luckily nobody was hurt, or the footage would be way harder to watch. Number 16. Human-sized jellyfish. Jellyfish are strange creatures. Many of them can harm you, but only to some extent. Others, the bigger ones, can kill human beings. They typically don't hunt down humans, as it's usually an accident if someone gets stung by one. But this video shows what was called the most viral wildlife story of 2019, and it shows a rare human-sized jellyfish swimming in the murky deep sea. The footage was captured on the last day of Daly's Wild Oceans Week, an initiative that's meant to inspire viewers and raise money for the Marine Conservation Society in the UK, and it shows a massive barrel jellyfish that is rarely captured on camera. Typically, humans only encounter them washed up on the shore, so when one appeared out of the murky water, it surprised both divers. The divers were able to predict its direction because it was not going so fast, and they had a 25-minute encounter with the large jellyfish. It can be seen how beautiful the creature looks moving through the water, and the divers moving alongside it were also captured in the frame next to this gigantic jellyfish, and it is truly fascinating. Number 15. Lost in the Sea. How would you feel if you were stranded somewhere far in the sea and had no way of getting any help? Obviously, you would consider it the end moment of your life, just like Jacob Childs did. Jacob Childs was the subject of an extensive air and sea search off of Bundaberg's coast after separating from his group. The 30-year-old, who considered himself a relatively experienced diver, was in the water at the Althea wreck, approximately 30 nautical miles northeast of Bundaberg, when he became separated from his crew and began to drift about midday. He had the presence of mind to film himself, capturing his thoughts late in the day as daylight and hope would begin to fade when search crews failed to spot him in the water. So that's it. The sun goes down and they won't do nothing. That's a wrap on old Jakey, he would say in the video.
It's a wrap on old Jakey.
He was eventually rescued at about 6 p.m. just after sunset. It's a long time to spend by yourself, he told ABC after a day of being rescued. Mr. Child said that he could see and hear helicopters around him, but they were unable to spot him, and when he was spotted, the water police were able to reach him. He said he thought of having to spend the night at sea didn't worry him. According to the officer in charge of the search operation, Jacob knew what to do and didn't panic. He did all of the right things and activated his safety equipment, alerting the air observer. While Jacob was not much impacted by this near-death experience and returned to the waters the next day, it is still chilling to imagine someone stuck in the middle of the sea with doubt about whether or not they're going to make it out alive. Number 14. The Mountain Witch. Many people believe that witches do exist in real life, while many say that witches, like ghosts, are a myth. What you're going to witness next is a live interaction between a famous YouTuber and a creepy mountain witch. Hassan Barbar is a ghost adventurer who likes to go amongst the supernatural and interact with them. The YouTuber was looking for the infamous mountain witch when he finally spotted her and went in to take a closer look. When he moved toward the witch and tried talking to her, she continuously told him to stay away and get out of her home. She also warned him by telling him that she was a witch who would harm him if he failed to listen and comply with her warning. The witch also told Hassan that she was married to a ghost and had children with it. After a brief interaction between the two, the witch gets furious and starts throwing stones at him with her wand. You can see her moving fast through the rocks and small spaces. Hassan got out of there safely, but if one of the stones had hit him, the situation could have gotten worse, and he would have been sacrificed according to the witch rituals. Number 13. Scary Shark Attack. Sharks are one of the most dangerous and scariest creatures that are found underwater. Jason Dimitri filmed the frightening encounter while hunting lionfish in the Western Caribbean Sea. In a 3-minute video filmed on his GoPro camera, the diver can be heard breathing frantically while using a spear to fend off the Caribbean reef shark, which keeps coming back. The diver was happily going about his business, doing some great reef-saving work by culling invasive lionfish in the Western Caribbean Sea until a shark decided it wanted a share of the spoils. Taking Jason Dimitri by surprise, the Caribbean reef shark was probably attracted by the dead fish that the diver had already added to his basket. It made several attempts to get a closer look at the diver. After all, a tentative nibble is the most simple way for a shark to decide if it's found something that's worth eating. The diver can be heard trying to shout underwater as the shark first approaches him. Seconds after, he spears a lionfish, a venomous species considered a threat in the area. The shark then continues to dart at Dimitri, who kicks his legs and spears at it until it finally leaves him alone. Nearly 1 million people have viewed the video. Under the clip, Dimitri has admitted it scared the crap out of him. Number 12. An encounter between a man and a kangaroo. Kangaroos are regarded as cute creatures, but can be the opposite in some situations. A video shot in June of 2016 shows a dramatic encounter between a large male kangaroo and a man in Australia. The man, who was reportedly out pig hunting with his dog and several friends in rural New South Wales, saw that his hunting dog was being forced into a headlock by a large kangaroo. The man, who was said to be Greg Tompkins, rushed up to help his dog. Startled, the kangaroo let go of the dog, but Tompkins, who told media that he wanted to scare off the kangaroo and give his dog a chance to retreat, punched the marsupial in the face. Tompkins was a fortunate guy because he could have been killed. Contrary to popular belief, kangaroos don't normally try to box or punch each other. Instead, they prefer to balance on their strong tails and kick with their powerful back legs. If the kangaroo had done that to this guy, it could have disemboweled him. And luckily nothing bad happened and the kangaroo did not bring him harm. Number 11. Skydivers collide in mid-air. Now, you never know when things can go incredibly wrong for you. On March 22nd of 2016, Sebastian Leal jumped out of an airplane for the 402nd time. But unlike his other jumps, this time something went horrifyingly wrong. Leal's mid-air collision with another skydiver more than 14,000 feet above in the air would be captured by the GoPro camera that he happened to be wearing. According to WFTS-TV in Tampa, he ended up more than 3.5 miles from the drop zone, fracturing 4 vertebrae after hitting power lines on the way down. He's now paralyzed from the waist down and faces a lengthy rehabilitation in Atlanta, Georgia. The collision happened just seconds after he jumped out of the plane. Leal was knocked unconscious, but thankfully his reserve parachute deployed with seconds to spare. What happened to me is very unlikely. It's a freak accident. I'm optimistic that one day I will fly wingsuits again, he would say after regaining consciousness. This is one of the terrifying near-death experiences, and it's very scary. Number 10. The biker dives off a cliff. The moment a motorcyclist flies off of a cliff and survives has been caught on camera. Matthew Murray, who was 27 years old, was riding through the Santa Monica Mountains on his way to work near Calabasas, California, when a GoPro attached to his motorcycle filmed the horrific crash. Murray was taking a turn at about 40 miles an hour on the winding mountain road when he says that his steering locked up and he hit the gravel shoulder. Murray and the bike flew roughly 270 feet down the hill and he was knocked unconscious. The impact broke his back, hip, pelvis, collarbone, shoulder, sternum, ribs, tailbone, and sacrum, as well as puncturing both lungs. Murray was out for about a minute and a half before he was heard on the video screaming for help. He turned around and clawed his way back up the hill with his hands, knowing that he would die if he couldn't reach assistance. A passing motorist saw him and pulled over to call for an ambulance. Despite his severe injuries, Murray was booted from the hospital in less than a week because his health insurance had lapsed. It's painful to watch, and imagine how unbearable it would have been for Murray with so many injuries. Number 9. Man forced to jump after hitting snag halfway down massive zip line. If you're an adrenaline junkie, this video will be right up your alley. 2 men wearing helmet-mounted GoPro cameras begin down a massive zip line in Russia. The zip line is one of the longest in the world and thousands of feet off the ground. The 2 guys begin cruising at ridiculous speeds across the steel cable line, and when they reach the middle, they hit a snag. The 2 guys are then forced to stop and swing thousands of feet in the air. The first guy in line decides to remove himself from the seat as he was sitting on and dropping it, letting it fall to the ground. Next, he wraps his legs over the zip line, dangles upside down, and then simply lets go. Of course, he was wearing a parachute and made it back to land safely. But what an adrenaline rush. You can just tell how nerve-wracking it was by the way he was breathing. Number 8. Adorable owl dance-off captured. Dance-offs only seem to happen during staged or pre-arranged events involving individuals or even entire groups of people. They definitely don't happen for animals in the wild. At least they didn't until now. With the help of a GoPro camera, wildlife photographer Megan Lorenz captured one of the most hilarious and adorable videos after seeing some burrowing owls in a front yard. At first, the owls simply begin emerging from the underground home, get ready to start the day, and then begin pruning themselves for a while. But then, after a couple of them start to notice the camera, they really begin getting in the dancing mood. Either they really like dancing or they just know exactly when to start hamming it up for some potential internet fame. The owls begin with a simple head bob, starting a chain reaction between all four of them, and this results in some seriously hilarious dance moves that just get progressively more entertaining as the video continues. Interactions with animals like this in the wild don't get captured too often, which makes this one very unique. Number 7. Unreal backflip over a 72-foot canyon. Most of us experience a degree of natural anxiety when exposed to heights and large drops, but there are a certain few who thrive on adrenaline. From a rope swing off the top of a stadium to hanging off the top of skyscrapers, the internet is home to many heart-stopping videos created by such thrill seekers. One of the most popular clips features a daring BMX rider leaping over a 72-foot-long canyon. The footage would be captured from a Gopro camera attached to the rider's helmet. Viewers see the handlebars and his legs pedaling on a dirt track, and around him is a red canyon with steep cliff faces at almost every turn. Cheers from the crowd would become audible as he approaches the jump and propels off of it. The world appears to turn upside down as he backflips and makes it across the 72-foot-long gully. New Zealand man Kelly McGarry completed the ride. It was part of a competition by international brand Red Bull, which is renowned for its involvement in extreme sports. The heart-stopping jump became an iconic moment for the brand, with the footage unsurprisingly receiving thousands of views. Number 6. Stuck in a cave. Consider this your terrifying action cam video of the week, or perhaps the year. In this nightmarish 4-minute video that was uploaded in 2014, a man gets stuck in a narrow part of a cave while trying to get out. And as if being stuck isn't horrifying enough when you're underground, it seems the cave is also filling with water. This reminds us of the base jumper who captured his bone-crunching collision with a solid cliff wall, or the skydiver who got hit in midair and went unconscious while free-falling. Some helmet cam videos will haunt our dreams forever. Now this, I'm pretty sure, is one of them. Although the video stops before the man gets out, several sources would report that he did escape. Apparently, the original video description ended with, "It took another 3 hours of crawling to get out of the cave a different way." Number 5. Close-up of a great white shark. The Atlantic White Shark Conservancy would capture a video of a great white shark off the coast of Chatham, Massachusetts. The great white got up close and personal with a GoPro camera off of Cape Cod. The video would catch the inquisitive shark swimming off the coast of Chatham. Footage released by the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy during a research trip shows the shark circling the GoPro, swimming toward and bumping the camera at one point. Sharks are undoubtedly scary and dangerous creatures, but they're also intrigued and sometimes triggered by human intervention. This time it was a casual sight, but they can get pretty violent pretty quickly. Number 4. Volcanic eruption. Volcano eruptions are common in some parts of the world, but it's not humanly possible to be around the volcano when they erupt and witness the phenomenon. The clip that you're seeing is from an island of Vanuatu, where YouTube user Sean O'Callahan flew his rig over an actively erupting volcano. The footage shows a rare bird's-eye perspective on this mighty force of nature. Globs of lava and smoke clouds appear, and we can only imagine how blazingly hot that it must have been. It's a fantastic view of a natural phenomenon that cannot be seen otherwise. Number 3. Backpacker falls off suspension bridge. A French tourist hiking with 3 fellow backpackers in New Zealand would capture a first-person view of the group falling off a suspension bridge. A GoPro caught the footage the man was wearing to record the outdoor expedition. When the group tries to cross the bridge, a cable snaps, and the hikers fall into the waters 25 feet below. The video would be filmed on the Haparahini Bridge, according to The Guardian. The bridge is part of Lake Wakariamona Great Walk, a hiking track in a national park on the North Island of New Zealand. YouTube user Aiden Whistle posted the video in which he states in the caption that the bridge was designed to carry a maximum of 10 people. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured. Number 2. Plane makes an emergency landing. On July 8th of 2022, around 11:50 a.m., a small one-engine plane would make an emergency landing on US 74 in the western part of the state on a sparse highway in North Carolina. According to the Swain County Sheriff's Office, the pilot said that the engine had stalled and he had set the plane down. The Swain County Sheriff's Office said the pilot's GoPro recorded the incident on Highway 74. No one was hurt in the landing, but the video shows the pilot narrowly avoiding power lines and cars on the highway. Circumstances surrounding the emergency are unclear, but the Swain County Sheriff commended the pilot on an outstanding job landing the plane safely. Things can go south any time in these situations like these, but luckily nothing went wrong with this landing. Number 1. Glacier collapses off Alaska. Two men kayaking in Alaska managed to capture on video the moment that a glacier suddenly collapsed, sending a huge wave of water into the air. Andrew Hooper and his friend were kayaking off of the Kenai Peninsula to get a glimpse at the Spencer Glacier when they captured a torrent of celestial blue ice crashing down, creating a wave that inundated the two men. Hooper said that they were not only fortunate to witness the beauty and power of nature, but also escape any injuries. It was absolutely gorgeous watching the raw power of the glacier as it fell in. It was a beautiful event that we were lucky to have survived, he would say in an interview. The collapse came during a stretch of unusually warm weather in the state. After paddling around for a while, Hooper said that he heard a cracking noise near the glacier. They turned on their GoPro cameras and began filming. When it fell, it was cracking in small pieces here and there. Then a big chunk came, another big chunk, and then it just collapsed in on itself, he would say. A wave of ice and water sprayed over them, and at one point Hooper said that he let go of his camera to shield himself from the ice. Luckily, no one was hurt, but this is an amazing yet dangerous thing to experience.